What is going on, everybody? We're back on it for the final time. Actually, wild. Monster episode 74. It's been it's been over a year. I know along the way you guys wanted me to do like 2 uploads, 3 uploads. It was just the schedule with everything and life outside of already uploading 5, 6, 7 days a week just made it too hard. But we are here. Final episode. It's always bittersweet. Um, when you end a long running anime, like there's no like, oh, this is the end of season 1. Like this is it. I don't know if they have plans of developing anything monster-wise in the future, or how this series ends. But I'm assuming this is it, or anything that will probably be monster related on the channel, unless we kind of discuss things later on down the line, which could be some ideas, but we'll see. Left off of last episode, had a bunch of questions. That's why I waited a little bit. It's been like 2 days since I watched it because I wanted you guys to be able to see um, episode 73 and give me some feedback before I jumped into 74. Um, Great discussion. I think it's the most comments we've gotten on any of the monster videos so far up to this point. I'm pretty sure I know how it's going to end. It's just more so kind of like, what does that set up for the characters in the future type thing. I'm going to assume that he saves his life again. Tenma saves Johan again, which is like wild because like I don't have the numbers on hand, you know. I don't have the CDC, FDA statistic information, but like the chances of getting shot in the head and surviving, the chances of getting shot in the head twice and surviving, even being able to be operated on. But nonetheless, I'm pretty sure Johan's going to be saved. But then like, do we just let him back out in the streets? Like, is that because it's like the Naruto situation that I brought up. Spoilers if you haven't seen Naruto. Like Orochimaru did horrible, unforgivable things. That man's just out there living life. Sasuke as well. Everyone's just hanging out. It's like, but they even did redeemable things. I'm not even gonna say, but you like one good action doesn't erase 1,000. You know. I don't even agree that like Orochimaru and some others should be allowed to just walk free. But it doesn't mean you have to kill them. But they need to be like your reward is getting to keep your life, whether it's behind bars or in surveillance. Is he just gonna be allowed to? As manipulating as he is, and then you could even say like, you know, maybe he'll have mentally turned a new leaf. Um, but who's to say he doesn't randomly stumble across that monster book again in his future and just mentally loses it out there in a random library in some country, you know, and starts going crazy. Um, because I attributed it to it's a very after having time to like sit on episode 73 for a little bit, it's very and I'm assuming Monster came first. I don't know if they borrow from each other. Who knows what directors and writers and things get inspiration from? But it's very Batman, like Dark Knight Rises type thing, or Dark Knight, whichever the one that the Joker's in it. And you see him just pressing people and people folding the whole time of like put in certain situations, pressed up against it, feeling like they have no choice, and them showing their true colors. And then at the very end of the movie, spoilers if you haven't seen Dark Knight, he tries to get the people to decide, you know, oh, we've got to kill those people or they're going to kill us. Like, only one of us can survive. We have to press this button. And neither side decide to press the button. And it's like, and, you know, Christian Bale's Batman hits him with it. Like, you thought you could control people. Essentially, like, you thought people would always be like you. Like, feeling like they would have no choice, that they would have to. That people would show that they can't be better or they would only think about the betterment of themselves. Same thing with here. I think Johan wanted to prove that Tenma will. He wanted to show that like even a man like Tenma that saves lives will take a life. You know, he'll do anything to save somebody, even operate on me to keep me alive. Um, but when push comes to shove, when he has no choice, when he's backed up against the wall, he'll even show his true. He'll show the monster within him and kill somebody. But I was under the impression, especially after the episode that we had, where he kind of had that talk with that old man in the park. Was that old man a murderer? Was he an old war vet or something? Where he said, you know, he used to come to the park and the birds would interact with him, but now ever since he's, you know, did what he did, like he the passion that he used to like have with the birds and everything, like they don't come around him. They know he's not pure anymore, and yada yada. After kind of that was out there, I was almost positive that he wasn't going to kill him. I've got a bunch of other things to talk about, things I liked, didn't like, but let's see if this episode clears up some things. If there's a little bit of a time skip, if we get some closure with decent amount of characters, and all right, monster for the last time. Here we go. Here we go. I wonder if we're gonna see every. Oh, there we go. Here they are. Come on, Carl, get it right, buddy. It'll be the last time I ever see you. I'm glad they get to have a happy ever after those two. Huh? Oh. And like this wanted fugitive is just allowed to just do this surgery just because we said so. He should go visit all the people that he came across. So some time has passed. Interesting. Because that's so wild. It's like we've been hunting this man for years, right? But he's the only one that can save the planet. God damn it, let him save it. We'll deal with the paperwork after. Hey, I guess, like, did he get to just walk out of jail for free? Like, who vouched for him, by the way? After he finished surgery, the fact that they didn't put him in cuffs and put him right in jail directly after. Wow. No bullshit, I did not think Ava was going to make it to the end of this story. I thought she would die for Tenma, essentially. Oh.
今までろくにキッチンなんかに立ったことない私が。じゃあ今度うちのキッチンをお願いしようかな。いいわよ。いやしかしあんたの見立てたキッチンじゃ高くつきそうだな。
True。
ちょっとね。酒は飲んではいないね。ええ、一滴も。
Good for her.
結構だ。ゆっくりゆっくり行こう。
That makes a parallel between him and Richard. He had his drinking issues, you know? He's not fully happy. Hmm.
彼は私が駅で待っているだけで幸せだって言ってた。マルティンという男か。
Who are we talking about? Martin or Tenma? I hope. Yeah, but it's a parallel because like Richard was a drunk that was trying to get off of it. Now he's got Ava. Okay, looks like we're gonna try to speed blitz through a majority of characters. Like I feel like that's it for Ava and the Doctor.
バーデマン弁護士、あなたにかけられた嫌疑を晴らしてくれた人です。グリマさん。
あなたに関して分かる限りのことは調べ上げた。
Good for him.
511キンダーハイム出身。東ドイツの諜報部員としてジャーナリストを装い、世界中を旅行。
Yep.
その後、フリーランスとして人権問題を調査し続けた。あの大きなバッグに
Whatever happened to his stuff? Did he get that? We get his real name? We got Roberto's dumbass real name. Oh! He's got his drink. They're there to have their drink. Is he retired and spending time with his family or what? Nice. Alright. It's a start. It's a start. I'm never gonna get after him not blowing Roberto's brains out. There's one thing I could change about the entire story, that would be it. You had him right there. I kind of like this. Like I said, I hope we kind of do quick speed blitz through every character. I want to see Dieter. Shit, I want to see what Weem and his drunk ass dad are up to. Oh Lord.
あそこは君にとってはいろいろと逃げ出そうとしても無駄だ。 大切なのは事実と向き合い前に進むことだ。
He said to her.
でしょ。
Mm-hmm.
これ適当に処分しておいてくださる？
What is that?
それじゃ。
ああ、元気でな。
Oh, Ava.
すぐに言ってくれ。私もドクター・ギーレンもいつでも力になれる。リーターと、そして彼も。
And him. Him.
よろしく伝えといて。
ああ。
Well, what's in that? Go ahead and open that for me one time.
ドクター・テンマの事情聴取続く。事件の全貌を未だつかめず。
That's all the research she's probably had, yeah.
の証言始まる。ヨーロッパ史上最悪の連続殺人事件に
Catching us up on the time skip that's happened. Proven completely innocent. Oh, we're sorry, bro. Alright, thanks. See ya.
事件の動機まだつかめず、真犯人とされる謎の青年の正体は、ニュースター大学医学部ドクターテンマを教授として招聘。ドクターテンマ
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm okay. I'd rather him be like a mercenary doctor that just kind of goes around and... There's no more news about him. Probably it. I don't know what the MSF is. You still hanging out with that piece of shit? Dieter needs to go see his twin brother out there in the town, by the way. His responsibility to look after him, or what? Okay. So he is kind of like a mercenary, just go around, do doctor shit.
ちょっと前に奴から引き受けた仕事、経費と労力考えると報酬が全然足りないんだよ。
天馬がおじさんに仕事？
簡単に人探しとか言いやがってえれえ苦労したんだ。警察のマル秘資料盗むまでしたんだぜ。捕まったらどうなるか。
Dieter does look a bit grown. He needs to go hang out with Weem.
天馬にこの請求書を渡しとけ。払えないなら
Hey. Alright, who else do we need to see? Who else is there? I'd like to see Dr. Gillen. Of course, Nina. There he is. Haircut and all. I feel like Frodo went on a journey and now he's trying to like assimilate back into regular life.
これ皆さんで召し上がってください。
まあ、これはこれは。
Who are we going to see? Johan's going to show up at some point. Okay. Got a good 12, 13 minutes left. Who is it? Gotta be Anna. Gotta be Nina. That could be the only person I could see him sitting down with at this point in the story and actually have a conversation that would like hit, you know? Everybody else would just be like base level conversations.
いい天気。たくさんの葉が光合成してる。命。数えきれない遺伝子。
Thought I knew who that was for a second.
メンデルってご存知？
ええ、遺伝の法則の。
But my question is, if that's who I think it is, how did he find her?
ブルノ大学。チェコ南東部、モラビア地方の都市ですね。
And then can he not reunite them? Or is she all mentally there, or?
何度も通ってくださって、とても楽しい時間を過ごさせてくれて。
Do they know that she's?
今日はとてもいい気分。 何でもお話できそうな気がする。
I asked this question if she was alive. Do they know that she's
どんな
alive?
怖い話でも。
It's the
私に
mom.
聞きたいことがあるんでしょ
I didn't know she was still alive. And if anybody knew where she was, do they know that she's alive? Surely, maybe? Maybe Johan doesn't need to know that she's alive. Who knows how that might go.
双子のお母さんですね。
I mean, she looks exactly like them. Just older. As soon as I saw that side profile.
う。ええ。
Man, that jumped quick. Just like that. We're
私
coming
は
down to less
彼
than
を
10
愛
minutes.
した。彼はあの男に殺された。それはあの男の実験だった。私はあの男を
And I was still thinking about something when she
決して
gave,
許さない。
because she chose which one to give up to the Red Rose Mansion, right? Did she even
私が死んでも
did
私の
she
中でどんどん
herself
大き
even
く
know
なった
which one she
子
was
供
giving
た
up?
ちが
Could she tell them apart
必ず
in that
あの
moment?
男に罰を下す。
Because she like went back and forth on like, you know, gave Johan no get oh Did she know which one?
手を離さないで。手を
We know the father's dead. They took him and killed him.
本当の怪物は
Bonaparte falls in love. That was a question that I had.
あの子たちは生きている
Oh
の。
wow, so at this moment she doesn't know. Why did
元気です。
Bonaparte poison all those people in the Red Rose Mansion? Is it because he was in love with the mother and didn't want the kids to be used, so he poisoned them and let her just run away, and that was that? Is that the reason, or is there another reason?
思い出したね。
She has no idea what Johan's done and what he's become.
二度と思い出せないかもしれない。今言わなき
I was about to say, is she even all mentally there?
ゃ。あの子たちに名前をつけたの。
She doesn't seem like she might be mentally there. Just from everything she went through. Husband being taken and murdered, kids being taken, her disappearing, losing the kids, not knowing if they're alive. Oh no. I was about to say, please don't have her running upstairs to a dark doorway again.
入りたまえ。
This. Where do I know his face from?
相変わらずの遅刻常習犯だな。
Seen him before.
約束の時間に10分遅れだ。
すみません、クローネッカー教授。
うん。
Maybe his face just looks like somebody else.
今日は何のために呼び出されたのか分かってるだろうね。君の卒業論文に関してだ。
Okay. What does she write about? A monster?
前に来たまえ。
はい。
Imagine writing out theses and papers by hand. My god. Not just typing and hitting submit. Oof, couldn't be me.
休学中の遅れを取り戻すのも大変な苦労だったろ
でもそれは成績の言い訳にはなりませんし。
う。その通りだ。ところで君の論文だが。
What was it? What was it?
トップだ。
Nice.
これは私が教えたこれまでの学生の中で最も優れた論文だ。
Don't cry.
よく頑張ったな。私は君を誇りに思う。
Don't cry.
ありがとうございます。
君の志望は。
Yeah, what does she want to do?
弁護士です。
Ah,
うん、
interesting.
君によって多くの人が救われることを祈る。下がってよろしい。
はい。
And then like imagine back then like writing papers. I guess you could, they had printed, but like might be quicker. She better start showing up on time if she wants to be a good lawyer. Yeah, exactly. Imagine only having like one copy of your paper. Like you had to submit like a 50-page paper back then, writing it by hand. And like that's the only copy because clearly you're not going to write it twice.
今度会った時慰めてもらおうかな。もったいぶったって声でわかるよ。やったんだね。
So who does Dieter stay with these days?
これからがまだまだ大変なんだけどね。お祝いだ。早く帰っておいでよ。
Oh, I guess with her, okay.
行かないんだ。アルバイトあるし、友達との予定も結構。何言ってるんだよ。
Oh god.
テンマが帰ってくるんだよ。
I didn't like the way the shadow was going over her face right there. Cancel plans, cancel work. Oh no, they're not. Because if it takes her a whole day to get home, I don't know who's staying with who. Well, everybody seems to be doing good. They're playing this great, like, Shire music. Everyone's hanging out. You know who they're saving till the end, right? This might be it here. Should he not be surrounded? Or, like, handcuffed to the bed? Who even knows if a pair of handcuffs is going to keep him? But, like, shouldn't he be in a, like, padded, bolt-locked psych ward or something? I get it, like, all life is precious, and that's what we're going for here, but there are exceptions.
聞こえるかい？君のお母さんと話をした。君を愛していた。君の本当の名前を聞いた。
We're gonna get it?
君には名前があった。
Meruem. Tell him. Are we gonna get it? No? No? No. Okay. Yeah.
ドクターテンマ、あなただけに聞いてほしい。
Hey, bro.
あの時、あの怪物が僕の前に現れた。
Be the last time we hear of Johan, huh? It's the last time we hear of any of them, but I'm assuming this is the last time. Yeah, when they got taken. Like right here. Did she know who was who?
どちらかを残してどちらかを連れて行く。これは実験だ。
They couldn't end off without some creepiness, right? I don't even know which one's which. Well, voice-wise, now we know. Maybe she did know. I'd love... What's their relationship? Like, does that's
どっち？いらなかったのはどっち
Now we don't know if he was under a genjutsu or if that happened or not. And if that did really happen,
そろそろ行くよ。
does Anna hate her mother for that? Or I don't know if he was going to be sitting up or what. He opened his eyes. Was he awake the whole time? Did any of that happen? I'm going to assume it didn't happen. But then the follow-up question of Tenma is like, are you mentally okay, bro? Some serious time has passed, and if you're freaking out, like, maybe it's just in the presence of him. He freaks out. Now what, guys? See what I'm saying? I guess we'll never know. That's it? Hold on. See if there's anything in these posts. 74 episodes over like that, huh? Damn. Alright, I mean, I think definitely the shot of it all is definitely when Johan's sitting up, right? I think when he initially sits up is probably the best shot, I would think. Is that really and we don't even know if that was actual dialogue. Tenma's face looks wild as hell.
Dr. Tenma.
But I think there was even more like panic on his face after the fact. Oh yeah, so it's actually I think I like with both of them in the shot is probably my best one. And there's really no telling, like, did that happen or did that not happen? Clearly Tenma shows up, right? Like the hospital, like all that's a real thing. But what does it mean? Was there a single character that we didn't see that had any kind of weight to it? And with the argument being made that, you know, Tenma wanted to, you know, essentially save Weem and his dad, you know, his dad going to prison for being a murderer and all those type of stuff. I'd have liked to caught up with that a little bit. Are they in the same town? God forbid. What happened to that town after the fact? Has his dad cleaned up his life? Like, are they doing better? I don't. Did that old couple find that lottery ticket? I would have liked to have seen a little bit of that. Besides that, I think that's it. I would have loved to have seen the mother interact with the two of them personally. Me personally. Well, we actually. I mean, I'm over here speaking like we've got more episodes. Now we won't have that. Would have been cool to see because I would have liked to have seen what that would have done to their mentals. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of like Lunge and maybe the trial that went into it. You know, because he was so convinced that like his calculations had to be correct, his calculations had to be right, and then for him to essentially accept it, like, oh, there is a Johan. These things did happen. And maybe even seeing him say that his calculations were incorrect, shaking Tenma's hand and apologizing to him like after the trial was over. You know, I would have liked to have seen those type of things. I feel like we skipped like stuff, just like boom, here's your last 24 minutes, get the hell out of here. I would have liked to have seen that. Seeing Sook in the other attorney was cool. I would have liked to have seen Dr. Gillen for a second, maybe him and Tenma in person. I thought the Ava and the other doctor stuff was pretty cool. Dieter, you know, good on him. Hopefully he's living his life. Never got Greimer's real name. I don't know if it's been, you know, released by the author or something like that, but at least in the anime, to my knowledge, we never really got a real name. Wasn't a bad finale, and I kind of felt like this, the way that I think I started talking about this in like episode 68, 69, 70. The way it was pacing, I felt like the last episode was going to be pretty rushed as far as like here's Here's them, here's them, here's them. Boop, bop, boom. See ya. And that's kind of. I felt like there's no way there was enough time to like do the things that if you could have given us to like, what do we in 74? Given us to 80 maybe even like 78 of like Tenma's trial, Lunge, seeing pieces like this, maybe getting the mother around. But those are things that I just wish for. It doesn't mean maybe that's just headcanon things. But I think out of all that though, out of everything I wish we would have seen in the last episode or things like that, I would have liked to have seen, because we don't even know if this conversation really happened right here. Like did Johan snap awake with concern of like, did my mother love me? Did she mean to choose me? Those type of things. We don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to be interpreted as real or hallucination, or it's supposed to be taken that way. But what I would have loved to have seen above all else is an actual interaction between these two. Now that Tenma, he learns that Tenma was not the one that shot him, and not only was Tenma not the one that shot him, Tenma also brought him back to life. Again, saved his life. And I would have liked to have seen the gears spinning in here on Johan of what does he think of that? Because they're two polar opposites. Tenma thinks everybody deserves to be saved, regardless if you're Johan. He saved other criminals in the past before, done what he could for them, given the supplies and utilities that he had on him, regardless of like what they had done. So he's all about saving, and Johan has no problem killing, regardless of your status, innocent, pure, evil or not. Like, he'll just kill. So knowing that he pushed Tenma essentially to the brink, to the edge, and knowing that Tenma still didn't do it, he doesn't have that monster inside. Well, you could say he does, but everyone has a breaking point, maybe, I would have loved to see just how Johan calculates that. Does it change his mental on things? He wanted this perfect suicide, and it didn't happen. And Tenma saved him again. What does he think about that? And that's probably my biggest. Now we're getting to like the overall series review and rating. That's probably my biggest gripe of the entire series is the bouncing around got crazy. Which you could make, that was like, oh, that makes good side characters. But man, we just have 3-episode chunks here, 5-episode chunks here, 8-episode chunks here, boom, boom, bop, bop, bop. That didn't include Tenma, that didn't include Johan. And some characters did save it. Some were cool. Getting some Lunge episodes, getting some Grimmer episodes, getting some Richard episodes. Those were great. But some of them were miss. And I think the biggest miss for me in the entire series was not enough Johan time. And I don't even mean by screen time, because, he had a decent amount of screen time and, they fleshed some things out. But I wanted more time with Johan in here. And I feel like we didn't get that. Maybe that's just me. Maybe others feel like they got it. I've seen a lot of people, well, not a lot of people say, but for people that enjoy Monster, that Johan is the perfect / best antagonist in all of anime, all of manga, ever been and ever will be. And I do see a lot of people that support that statement. Or, he's in like top 2, top 3. He's up there with Griffith. He's up there with Light or whoever you want to use, Madara, blah, blah, blah. That people think Johan is that. And I can see the arguments for that. I personally don't think that. I can see the arguments for that, especially since he's doing this just as a regular human. And this is something that really could be done. He doesn't have a death note in his hand. He doesn't have supernatural powers. He doesn't have a demon that lives inside of him that gives him the abilities that others can't keep up with. He's not chosen by destiny to lead X, Y, Z and do. He's just a regular human. The whole story is just people with regular humans. Now, well, I will say again, I don't have the statistics on taking bullets to the brain, but I don't know if we're making it through 2 of those, but that'd probably be the only wonky thing in the whole story of like taking bullets to the brain and surviving twice? Possibly. But yeah, that was probably my biggest rub. Is like I wanted to peel back layers of Johan and really get in there. And then once I saw the story wasn't going to give us that, wasn't going to like peer inside of his mental, because we got it a lot with Nina, a lot. Which you could say her story was needed, her mental was needed more to progress the story, since she was the one that went through the things, and then there's the reveal that it was her and it wasn't Johan, and he was just pretending, not pretending, but you know, he was reacting to her traumas, you know, like he was the one. So when I noticed that we weren't going to get that, what I was hoping for is, okay, the characters that Johan keeps close to him that aren't intimidated by him, the Robertos, the Devil's Apprentice guy, his name, and then that one guy that was literally on screen for like 10 seconds that was like, okay, Johan, what are we doing next? I killed these people for you, so they're out of the way. What are we doing next? And he just shoots him in the head. I wanted to see those people that weren't intimidated by just him showing up in a room. I wanted to see how they interacted with him, what kind of conversations they can pull out of him. How is their demeanor and their back and forths? We never get. Roberto and Johan were on screen actually engaging in conversation with each other for 10 seconds, and that was in the second to last episode. And we didn't really get much because Roberto's passing out dead, and he's like, I want to see this world. And he's like, you're not going to see it. He's like, oh, I'm dead. You know, I wanted to see interactions with people that didn't see Johan and start having a panic attack, you know? And we didn't see him interact with the Devil's Apprentice kid. Roberto and him interacted for 10 seconds, and then he shot that other guy directly in the head quickly. So it's like I couldn't see how he might be around others that aren't intimidated, and I didn't get enough of him in here. It's just my opinion. Besides that, my top 5 characters, probably in no order. Richard. He might be my favorite character in the entire series. Richard, Lunge, Bremer, Ava. We had our ups and downs, but I enjoyed her character. And I think the last one would probably be a tie between maybe Dieter and what was the security guy's name? I have it pulled up here. Let me see if I can find it. I think he probably would be my other one. I don't have Johan, and I don't have Tenma, and I don't have Anna, Nina, whatever you want to call her, in my top 5 characters at all. I want to say his name was like Mark, or what was this man's name? I know you guys are probably. It's not Sook. No. Martin. That's him. Is our man here? It's him. Is this our boy? Yeah, that's him. I think you guys can see that if I cover my face. Yeah, that's him. But yeah, those are probably my top 5. Richard, Lunge Greimer, Ava, and Martin, probably. Dieter gets honorable mention. These two just didn't. I don't know. They didn't hit with those two, you know. And what I really would have loved is just maybe some closure there at the end of like characters doing things. Like he's like, oh well, I'm emailing my family, but I would have liked to have seen, you know, Lunge's mental on like him essentially putting down his badge. Like he's teaching now. Are the calculations done? Is he trying to? They hint at that's what it is. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. Definitely wasn't the worst thing I've watched as far as animes go. That is currently a tie, and people hate when I say this, and I get hate mail, emails, hate ravens sent to me all the time when I mention this. But the 2 worst things that I've ever watched that are tied for the bottom of the bottom, that I've never rewatched, won't rewatch, not even fight scenes. No, there might be 1 or 2. But that tie goes to Avatar, The Last Airbender, which I don't know if we're calling that a cartoon, by the way. That's a cartoon. And Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is wild to say because I know for a lot of like anime fans, those are like their top 2 favorite. For me, hate those a lot. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. What I will say though, it was very slow. Monster is very, very slow. And when you're bouncing from like subset characters to more subset characters to like, okay, we're with this subset, these characters die. Subset characters, they're dead. kind of get these like mini stories, and you see the grand picture at the end of it when dots connect, but like they don't connect in the moment. So when we get like a mini sub story for like 3 or 4 episodes and those characters die and we sprint forward to like another 20-25 episodes and like nothing connects between that, it's kind of like So it's very slow. But what I will say though, even though it was very slow, I didn't dread like, oh man, I gotta react to Monster today. Let me try to get through this, because I've been like that with some shows that I've watched. I've been like that with Avatar, with Full Metal, with Code Geass, and some other things. There was a suspense level that I'll give Monster credit for that made me kind of like, rocking in my chair, like kind of waiting for it. Okay, like where is it? Where is it? But I will say that I kind of felt like that the entire time, and I felt like I never got that like where is it moment. So it wasn't a bad watch. I think as far as, I don't know what you want to label them as. What are we labeling? What's the term that we're using for the Code Geasses, the Death Notes, the Monster? Are we using more like thriller? Because they're still considered shonen, no? But I don't know what term you want to use. I don't have it above Death Note. Death Note's, I think, in my top 5 animes all time, maybe top 3. But I have it above Code Geass for sure. Something about, like, I wanted to connect with Tenma's character, but I was saying this the whole time, when he's off screen so much, and I feel like Tenma was only, like, he just had one purpose, essentially, and I feel like that purpose wasn't even really realized till the end of, like, showing Johan, and I don't even know if Johan realizes that, because I don't even know if the two of them had a conversation after the fact, or if he had a realization of, essentially, like, showing the Joker that, like, not everybody is you. Not everybody has a monster inside of them, and you could make the case that we all do have a monster inside of us, but it doesn't mean we have to succumb to it, no matter where you're pushed, backs against the wall, feet on the edge, kid has a gun to the side of his head. That we don't have to be like you. Now, the question is, which we won't get an answer to, remove Weem's father. Say he got taken out by some of Johan's men or Roberto or whatever. So nobody's there to shoot him. Johan. What then does Tenma do? Does he just not pull the trigger at all? Is Johan killing that kid? Is Nina going to come over there and tackle them? What then happens? That would have been very interesting. I think it would have hit a little bit harder if he had it there at him. I'm just making up my own story. Father never shows up. And because this, yeah, I actually think I would have preferred this. I'm just making up my own ending, which people do all the time to stories. You know how everybody loses it. We've seen everybody in this story, from Lunge to Greamer to Tenma to Nina to Ava to Richard, up down the line. Even the coolest characters, they lose it. They're sitting there, they're screaming at the top of their lungs. Like, we see Tenma do it, we saw Lunge do it, we saw Greamer do it. Everyone has that snap and breaking point. I would have loved to seen Tenma did get to that breaking point. You saw him like out there in the ring with the pistol, screaming at the top of his lungs, like he couldn't do it. I would have liked to see him not be able to do it, even if Johan shoots Weem right there, point blank in the head. And I would have used that moment to show Johan's breaking point. Like, see him freak out for once. The like deep panting breath and eyes dilated and shit, because he can't comprehend why Tenma won't take his life. Like, he's been able to manipulate and pull the puppet strings on any and everyone stronger and better men than Tenma. And Tenma just won't do it. He won't do it. And I would have loved to have seen, if that happened, what Johan, Johan doesn't get shot and Nina runs over there. He pushes Nina out of the way. Shit, say he shoots Nina too, or shoots her in the leg. Just something to get her out of the way. Or maybe doesn't even shoot Weem in the head, just tosses him, and he wants to know why Tenma won't do it. Everybody else can do it, but why can't? That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting. But that's just headcanon. I'm just writing my own stories. What can you do? At the end of the day, now that the story's over, out of 10, I wish I need somebody to go back. Actually, I could go back and do it, I guess. But somebody, I'll Venmo somebody $5 if they can do this for me. It needs to be accurate though. Don't just start giving me numbers and I go back and double check and I'm like, wait, I didn't really give that rating, and then I sent somebody money for no reason. I need a list of like what I ranked things, because I would like to see. Now it's different, like ranking things in different, because I don't remember what I gave Hunter x Hunter, and I don't remember what I gave, you know, this and X, Y, and Z and yada yada yada. So it's like, oh dang, you ranked that above that, but in my head I'm like, dang, I enjoyed that more than that. So maybe I'm rating it on a different scale, or like this is more like the psychological thriller type ranking as opposed to like typical battle shonen type stuff. I would say, I was gonna say I'd give it anywhere from like a 6.8 to a 7.2. Split the difference. 7. I'd say I'd give it a solid 7. It had very strong redeemable characters that I enjoyed. Like I said, Richard was my favorite. Richard was my favorite damn character. Of course, he's dead. Lunge, he got to survive. Dreamer, dead. Ava, and Martin, dead. So 3 of my top 5 died, which is unfortunate. It's good to see Ava, because I remember we hated her ass. We still do, but something about it's like a love-hate. I don't know what it's turned into, because she still is a piece of shit, but like, I get it. I don't get it, but like, I've accepted it. And Lunge, man, I'd give the show right now, and I'd give it a whole extra point, an 8 out of 10, if he would have blown Roberto's brains out right there. And I know that's not the show, which sometimes it might be, but man, like he's going off about his calculations and just, yeah. And then I was really disappointed that they didn't even show the resolution of that. Like, you don't even have to have, which you, the injuries he sustained from Lunge was the reason he died. So yes, you could say Lunge killed him. Like the fact that we just catch up with them both separately, you could at least show me them like scuffling out of that. I don't know. I'm just picking things, you know, at this point, but it wasn't a bad story. I can see why people really love the. I wonder why it is. So for people that really enjoy Monster, you know, it's your favorite anime. It's a 9.5 out of 10. It's a 9.8 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 to you. What? Because I'm trying to really wrap my head around it. Like, what is it about the story for you that resonates with you? And then if you're one of those that also thinks that like Johan is the greatest antagonist in all of anime, all of manga, why is that for you? Is it because you feel like he's truly evil and there was nothing like redeemable about him, as opposed to like, you could say, I'm gonna start rattling off some spoilers here. So if you haven't seen some shows, just plug your ears. Is it because, you know, Light low-key wanted to have like a better world with no crime, or is it because Madara wanted to end wars, or, you know, Griffith wanted to rule a kingdom, kind of, and it's like, oh, Johan's just pure evil? Or is it because that he does it purely as a human? There are no magical books or demons or destiny. I'd be very curious of like, you guys that have it as your favorite. What is it about the story that makes it your favorite? We'll go ahead and we'll leave it off on that. So I appreciate it, everybody. I'm not sure what the next show is going to be. We're going to take a vote. We're going to do our things like that. I thought we were going to have One Piece live action with Jujutsu with Naruto, just pop coming out. But I heard Naruto got delayed, so take that off the scale. But One Piece live action Patreon, by the time you guys are seeing this, I should be editing the One Piece live action for you guys. So we'll have that. We'll have the Jujutsu. I don't know what we're going to add to replace this, but you guys know. Community polls, we'll ask questions, we'll vote, we'll do all those things. We'll go from there. I enjoyed it. Wasn't bad, wasn't terrible, wasn't the worst thing I've watched. I just probably don't have it as that like next tier, like 8.5 and up to me is like, okay, we're doing something here. I thought it was a good, fine story, so we'll leave it there. Appreciate it, everybody. If you're just here for Monster, I appreciate you here along for the ride, and if you're never going to come back, I appreciate it. It's always appreciated. Some people just show up for one show, and that show's over their eye, and I get it. I appreciate your support with that. And if you're still here, we got some big things coming up that we're trying to do, so I appreciate you on that level. Like, share, favorite, subscribe, and as always,